So, something I talk a lot about on this show is micro choices. Something in the book you talk about is micro edits. And I'm going to go back to high school here because I had this English teacher who constantly was up our butts about grammar. You got to get your grammar right. If you don't
Mhm.
get your grammar right, people aren't going to understand what you're saying. And you say that often a flat joke is just a grammar or like a logic problem.
Yes.
What is the best way to test that and to rewrite it?
So the very first couple things, and when you're talking about, okay, I just wrote a joke. I wrote something in a joke structure. I'm not even sure if it's funny, but I've got it. The very first thing in a joke is that the reveal should come as late as possible. So if I'm looking at a joke that one of my students has written, I'm going to say, does the reveal happen at the very end of the joke? That's the first and simplest thing. The second thing I'm going to say is, did you use too many words? How many words can you cut from that joke and still have it work? I'm going to look at whether the words you're using are clear or if there's another better word, something that's going to be more specific, that's
Hmm.
going to be closer to the idea that you had. And again, a lot of times a joke is a setup that I'm going to define jokes. A joke, what a joke does is it sets up an expectation and it does something that reverses that expectation. So we can think of a joke as a math problem, which always is very hard for my comedy majors who did not do well in math. And then I'm like, well, this is what this is. It's logic. So you're saying, okay, if there's two halves, the setup makes you expect that we're talking about a man. I'm making up an imaginary joke that I don't even know if it exists. But the setup set that you're talking about a man, and it you find out in the payoff that you're not talking about a man, you're talking about a dog, then you want to make sure that whatever is in the setup is equally true about men and dogs, right? So that where it works, but there's a balance there. Let's use an actual joke. There's the worst thing when you're like, I know so many jokes. Okay, here. This is a Phyllis Diller joke. By the way, Phyllis Diller, when she died, left she had an entire office full of filing cabinets full of wine liners, some kind of over 1 million jokes that she left to the Smithsonian. And you can go and see all of Phyllis Diller's jokes at the Smithsonian. But light travels faster than sound, which is why some people seem bright until they speak. So the setup is true, right? Science says light travels faster than sound. The punchline, the reveal, is using the word light in a different way. Right. So we say because some people seem bright. So bright is a different meaning until they speak. It's math. It's a kind of grammar math, but it is about making sure that that all the elements basically balance each other and work together. And so you're tricking someone, but you're tricking them with something that is smart and that at the end pays off in some way.